Hi, somebody asked me if I could do a video demonstrating some of the shortcut keys I use when I'm working in HISE, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to cover all of the shortcut keys I use because there are a lot, but I'm just going to cover the main ones that I use in the scripting editor. If you go to the File menu and go down to Edit Shortcuts, you can find a bunch of other shortcuts that are available in HISE and you can customize these. I'm not going to go through all of these today though. So one of the most basic ones I use is CTRL and A. So that's just to select everything in the current file. If you're on a Mac, that might be Command A. I should say actually that I work on Linux, so all of the shortcut keys I'm going to show you will work on Linux and probably Windows, but they might not work on Mac, or they might be slightly different on Mac. Often if it's a control-based command on Linux and Windows, then it's a command. You've got to use the command button on the Mac keyboard. But apart from that, I think it's mostly the same. So that's Control A, that's to just select everything. So the next one I use a lot, which is another basic one, is the Home and End keys. So if I go to a line and I press Home, it's going to take me to the start of that line. And if I press End, it will take me to the end of the line. Again, I think this is one that might be different on Mac. I think you might have to press Command and then your left cursor or your right cursor, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Another one I like to use is Control and the hash symbol or the pound symbol, which will comment the current line and uncomment it. I also like to use CTRL+R to bring up the list of functions and, well, it brings up all the tokens that are in your current file that you're editing. So CTRL+R to do that one. So another thing I like to do is edit multiple words or multiple lines at the same time, and this is something you can do in other text editors as well, like Sublime Text and Atom. So you select a word or a piece of a word that you're interested in, and then press Ctrl and D, and it will select the next copies of that word in the file, and it adds a cursor so that when you start typing, it will edit all of those at the same time. Another way to add multiple cursors, and this is for if you're editing from the same position. So in this, when I was using Ctrl D, these words are all in different positions. But let's say I want to edit where it says local here, so I can do the same thing, Ctrl D to select all the local. Or I can use this other technique, which is I put my cursor at the start, I hold Alt on my keyboard, and then I press the down cursor arrow. And that's going to add multiple cursors as well. And now I can work with all of those at the same time. And you don't have to press the down arrow, you can press the up arrow, and it will do the same thing. So to jump between blocks of code, up or down, you can press Ctrl and then press the up or down arrow on your keyboard, and that will jump up and down between blocks of code. I don't use that one so much, but it's nice to know about. If you want to move a line of code up or down, you can select it and press Ctrl and Shift and then use the up or down keys, and that will move that line up or down. And you can actually do this with an entire block of code. So if I wanted to move all of this code outside of this function, I could hold Ctrl Shift, and now it's outside of the function. So that's a very useful one, especially for working with large blocks of code. That one I showed earlier, by the way, for adding a comment, that works on multiple lines as well. So if you want to comment multiple lines, it's Control and the hash symbol, and that will comment all of those lines out. So if I want to remove an entire line of code, I'll hold Shift and press the End key, and then I can just press Delete. Or if I'm at the end of the line, I can hold Shift and press the Home key and press Delete. Or if I just want to select it, I can go to the end, press Shift and Home, and it will select the line, and then I can hold Shift down and press my cursor key up or down to select the lines above or below. If I want to move my cursor through a line to different positions, I can hold Ctrl and then press the left or right arrow, and it will jump between the different tokens of the line. So here it's jumped to just before the dot. If I press it again, it will go to, it was after the dot, now it's before the dot, and I can just do this and it will go through like that. So this will actually work in quite a lot of programs. It's not just a HISE thing. So if you go to your web browser and let's open a post that I wrote and we can edit it. So if I want to move around this line, I can hold Control and press the cursor keys, and you can see it does the same thing. It jumps between the words. So it's a useful thing to know about just in general. And again, the shift and home, shift and end, those things work as well here. So try them out in whatever sort of text editing environment you're working in. You might find that those shortcut keys are available there as well. For indenting text, I'll go to the beginning of a line and I'll press Tab. And if I want to go the opposite way, I want to unindent it, I'll hold Shift and press Tab. And that works for blocks of text as well. So you can quickly indent text or shift it the other way and unindent it. If you place your cursor at the beginning of a piece of text and press Ctrl and delete, it will delete just that bit of text. So that's quite a good one, and I can just carry on doing it and just delete one token at a time. I don't tend to use this one too much, but it's a nice little shortcut to know about. And that will work with the multiple cursors as well. So, handy little thing. Okay, and then the last one kind of combines a couple that we've looked at already. So we have the Control and the cursor keys to move the cursor around. If you hold Shift as well, you can actually select blocks of text. So you can do things like this. Another good use of this technique is if you've got bits of text that are different lengths, but you'd like to edit them all in one go. So we've got, for example, BG color, then we've got item color, then item color 2, then text color. And they're all different lengths, and if I wanted to change them all, I'd have to go through them pretty much one at a time or in little groups. But actually, we can select them all in one go. So I'll show you how to do that. So if we double-click colours there to highlight that word, then I'm going to press CTRL+D, and that's going to select them all. So now my cursor is at the beginning of the word colours. I'm going to hold Ctrl and press the right arrow, and then I'm going to release Ctrl and press the right arrow one more time. So we're at the beginning of each of the colours, and then I'm going to press Control Shift and the right arrow, and now it's going to select those words, and now I could replace all of those words which were all different lengths. I could replace them with text color, for example. So very handy use of that technique, and again this is something that will work in other text editors like Sublime Text and Atom and Pulsar and probably VS Code and others. Okay, so one little bonus tip. I showed how you can do multiple cursors with the Alt key and the arrows and using Ctrl+D, but you can actually do it with the mouse as well, which allows you to place the cursors at different positions in your code. They don't all have to be on the same line or at the beginning of the same word even. So to do this, hold Ctrl and then just click with your mouse and it will add another cursor, and you can do this for as many as you like. And then if you want to move this selection up or down, you can just use the cursor keys on your keyboard and it will actually move all of them together. This works as well if you're doing it with the Alt technique. You can now move those up or down. And with the Ctrl+D technique, again, you can move them up or down. Okay, so that's it. We've gone through most of the shortcut keys I use commonly, the ones I tend to use all the time. There are probably some others that I'm not even thinking about and they're just muscle memory, but those are definitely the most common ones, and they should help speed up your workflow when you're inside the HISE scripting editor. Alright, thank you for watching. See you next time.